Hi, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Katrina Raspel and Friends. And as I promised you on the very first introductory video that I did, I know the coolest people. And it's a gift. You know, when I say it's a gift, I don't mean it's a gift of mine. I mean, it was a gift to me that I got to meet so many wonderful people. And because our guest today is somebody who has been in my life for a ridiculously long time, one of the people I have known the longest that I was not raised around, they knew me when I was very hermited. And I'm hermited now, but I know people, so that's different. But didn't interact with people very much. And so they know what I know, which is it's really weird that I know a lot of really cool people, but I do. And so I'm excited to share those people with you. And this is one of the people I was really, so many of them I'm just super excited to share with you. All of them I'm super excited to share with you. But man, this one has a real special place in my heart. This is Georgia Smith. Georgia and I met. Now, I do this every single time we get together. And I want to say it was around probably, was it 99 or so? Was Nathan born yet?
Well, so we initially met in a chat room.
In AOL chat room, even.
AOL chat room in 96.
Wow.
And then we met again, like separately, like I didn't know that we had already met before.
Yeah.
Like, I think it was like 2 or 3, or maybe like a year or 2 later.
Yeah, it was before
I was in 2000.
Y2K.
Yeah. And yeah, you guys were there for the wedding, so.
Very much so. There was a time that Eric used to say that he had married everybody in the coven. Because he was a licensed minister and was doing all these weddings. I think you are probably the only one that made it. Julie and Loy made it, but they were after you. And everybody else, I think, is divorced. So. But you were part of the original construction of CUSP. And you were part of the development of what it was going to be and how it was going to go. You were there for so many instrumental navigational redirects that it took, and you stuck it out, and I appreciated that. You acted as our circle guardian and were badass. And I think you were not that far out of high school, were you?
No.
Yeah. Because it was when you lived in Carmichael behind the Honda place.
Yeah. And I was like probably maybe 19 or 20.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
My goodness. Yes. So that was fun. Now, I told a story. We just did, Eric and I, a Samhain discussion. And I told the story, and I'll link it in the description for everybody in case you missed it. I told the story of how we got the gravestone. So that was very popular. People messaged me to say how much they liked that story. The one I didn't tell is the one where we were in a dysfunctionally functioning coven, and we were getting the job done. I mean, it was as functional as most covens I've seen. And bizarrely, out of nowhere, without one knowing the other was going to do it, and without me knowing they were going to do it, both of our males went on sabbatical and announced that they were going to take a year off.
Yeah.
And all of us girls are looking around at each other like, what do we do with this? Like, the dick is leaving. We don't know. Male counterbalance.
Group. There's no
right. And we said, we can't just sit around and anoint each other with menstrual blood and things like that. What are we going to do? And it happened in ritual. They announced it in ritual. And it was I want to say a winter solstice ritual. And we're just looking at each other like, what the fuck? What do we do with this? And so primarily you and I got together and decided we were going to have a group called The Hut. And it represented the hut at the edge of the village where you went when you were having your period, your red tent, basically, to be yourself, to be organic, to speak your truths. And we did it. And we spent almost a year in practice of that. It was I say insightful in that we all learned a lot about ourselves and about each other. And it was good. It was challenging, but yeah, we became that empowered female group, and it taught us a lot about what we could and couldn't do, I think.
Yeah.
What did you think about it?
Yeah, I mean, the hut time was, it was definitely different. The dynamics of just a bunch of women, and I think we invited some people, and
Mm-hmm.
so and putting in new people, sometimes there was some weirdness and it didn't work, and
Yeah.
and but yeah, I mean, it was. I think it was a good experience. I think that our men folk, they had a good experience having their time away, and I think we also took full advantage of it.
What was also funny about it is, of course, at that time, there wasn't as much diversity in paganism. It was
Mhm.
there, but it wasn't a huge part of Wicca or primary paganism. They were still working god and goddess a lot of the time, or only goddess. You weren't
Right.
seeing a lot of duality. And so we didn't have the thing where there are two high priestesses leading a group, or you've got someone who presents as female who is drawing down God energy. So really, we were still very dualistic at that time. And so yeah, we weren't sure what was going to happen. And so we started doing all this cool stuff. And I remember around Beltane, the guys were all like, "So what you doing?" And I was and started, kind of looking to see what was interesting and what was going on. And so yeah, it was a really interesting year, and I am really grateful for that as part of what became my formative impressions of group work,
Yeah,
because I'd never worked all female before, and it was all, I think, all cisgender straight females.
I think so. Yeah,
So it was definitely interesting.
yeah, yeah,
So
it was.
I remember another thing. I remember a lot. I remember that.
I don't. That's a good thing you do.
I got you, man. I got you. I have to remember it because it's all going away. So I got to talk about it fast. So there was a time when you were struggling over whether or not you wanted to have a baby, you and
Mhm,
Josh, your partner,
mhm,
your husband.
mhm. Yeah,
And you said, I'm not sure I'm ready, so I'm going to buy a cat.
yeah.
You spent what I thought secretly was I may have said it out loud, a ridiculous amount of money on this cat.
Oh yeah,
That
Josh is like, I have never spent $600 on pussy. You know.
So he shopped at all the wrong markets. But that turned out to be the best investment because Zoe is Zoe gone now?
Yes, yes, she passed over in 2021,
But she
and
lived a really long
nearly
time.
nearly 19 years old. Yeah,
Unbelievable. So
yeah,
I apologize. That was a really great investment. And it worked out because later you did have children.
yes,
And
yes.
you moved to Washington to raise them
Hmm.
there, much
Hmm.
to our dismay.
Yeah.
And we've managed to stay in contact, which I deeply appreciate. But you had an experience that I also had, and we had those experiences separately of being a pagan parent.
Hmm.
And the difference in you being a pagan parent and me being a pagan parent is your partner doesn't practice with you.
Right, right.
Was that challenging, or did it all just flow, or how did that go?
It hasn't really been a challenge, I would say, because, he's certainly not dismissive of my practice, and he thinks it's great that I'm a witch, and, our philosophy in general is, we want our kids to be who they want to be. So, he doesn't mind if I've got the children included in practice or teaching. It's, to me, it's, this is what you should do. It's just, here is a thing you could do, just try to provide the information, and see what gets picked up,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I mean, it's not been a big challenge for us in that way. And yeah, I mean, there's not been any grief over it at all with us.
That's wonderful news. I hear so many people that do have problems with it. And so that's a real blessing. Now, I have, as a lot of the viewers know, I have 6 kids, and the first 3 don't identify as pagan. And then Delina, number 4, and Nathan, number 6, both participate in the circles that Eric and I have. And Dylan does because Dylan's wife does. And so Dylan is accompanying her wife, Nix, to the circle. So I do kind of have half of them, sort of. How do your kids identify? What's their interest, or how do they feel about it?
Inara is definitely, practicing, and is probably better at it than me, and which is what we always want for our children, sure. Right? She's got an altar. She's like on her way out the door. Can you put my rocks outside? I was like, how about we wait till the full moon? Okay. And yeah, so she's really into it, and she has gone on to lead rituals and spells with her friends and stuff, and introduce them to the practice. I mean, just born later, that one.
Mm-hmm.
Corbin, still kind of young. He's 11. But mostly his interest is rocks. He really loves the crystals. If we walk into a crystal shop, he's spending all his money. Just oh, this one's for helping me focus. I need this one. Yes, you do.
So you have a group that you lead, and again,
somewhat, yeah.
Like as you said, we always hope that our kids are going to pass us and be better than us. As you know, that's how we feel for the people that are in our groups, that we want them to be bigger, badder, crazier, more expressive witches than we are. So I'm so proud that you do that. And how does that look for you when you're in practice? Do you have any particular I guess leadership style, or do you do a democratic circle, or what's your layout?
For the most part, it tends to be, very peer, and we don't usually do a lot of like formal ritual. We'll just do, small exercise, arts and crafts stuff. We like make witch bottles or, do other things like that, because we can involve the kids in it. I host a Beltane every year at my house, and that's how I corrupt muggles, because I invite everybody, and then, just, here is the maypole and here's the mayhole, and, and you're going to do this offerings and burn shit, and it's just, it's fun to me because, I lots of people who aren't pagan in my life that I love, and this gets them to, have a part of this in their life that I get to share with them, and, they get the perspective of, a different spiritual path, and everybody just thinks it's so cool because it is, so it's very rewarding, to be able to do that.
I love that. And for anyone who has read the CUSP book, or been on the CUSP website, or been to one of our Beltanes, Georgia, y'all need to sit down for this. Georgia is the creator of the mayhole. Georgia is the reason why we have a mayhole, because Georgia got all up ons. She said, this isn't fair. We need a representation. Let's call it the mayhole. And we sure did. So you were a big part of that moment of CUSP that endures, that we still practice today.
Mm-hmm.
And just so many wonderful memories with you. So thank you for those. And thanks for trusting us and for letting us into your spirituality. I appreciate that.
Likewise.
So what do you think happens to you or to a person at death when you die?
I am, in the CUSP tradition. So for me, it's very scientific. It's energy, and not long after my mother passed, I had come across this little blurb that this guy wrote. His name is Aaron Freeman, and he's a writer and a journalist and a comedian performer. He's like a converted from Catholicism to Judaism, and he's Black. Like, wow, this guy's got range, But I'll read this just because I really love it, and we can link it in the bottom so people can, go look at it, because I read it every year, on the anniversary of when my mom died, which is my birthday. Fun.
Nice. Thanks, Mom.
Thanks, Mom. All right. So here we go. You want a physicist to speak at your funeral. You want the physicist to talk to your grieving family about the conservation of energy so that they will understand that your energy has not died. You want the physicist to remind your sobbing mother about the first law of thermodynamics, that no energy gets created in the universe and none is destroyed. You want your mother to know that all your energy, every vibration, every BTU of heat, every wave of every particle that was her beloved child remains with her in this world. You want the physicist to tell your weeping father that amid the energies of the cosmos, you gave as good as you got. And at one point, you'd hope that the physicist would step down from the pulpit and walk to your brokenhearted spouse there in the pew and tell him that all the photons that ever bounced off your face, all the particles whose paths were interrupted by your smile, by the touch of your hair, hundreds of trillions of particles have raced off like children, their ways forever changed by you. And as your widow rocks in the arms of a loving family, may the physicist let her know that all the photons that bounced from you were gathered in the particle detectors that are her eyes, that those photons created within her constellations of electromagnetically charged neurons whose energy will go on forever. And the physicist will remind the congregation of how much all our energy is given off as heat. There may be a few fanning themselves with their programs, as he says it. And he will tell them that the warmth that flowed through you in life is still here, still part of all that we are, even as we mourn, continue the heat of our own lives. And you'll want the physicist to explain to those who loved you that they need not have faith. Indeed, they should not have faith. Let them know that they can measure, that scientists have measured precisely the conservation of energy and found it accurate, verifiable, consistent across space and time. You can hope your family will examine the evidence and satisfy themselves that the science is sound and that they'll be comforted to know your energy is still around. According to the law of the conservation energy, not a bit of you is gone. You're just less orderly.
Wow. Goosebumps. That's amazing. I think that's the best answer I've ever gotten to this question.
That's what I think.
That's incredible.
I just, they've measured it, right? The body weighs just a smidge less after you die.
Yeah.
And that's the release of that energy out into the world. And I think some of us are chunkier than others, you know, the energy maybe doesn't disperse quite as much. And I think that's how you get like hauntings, you know, and then I think, you know, that's why you could have 100 people who say, I was Marie Antoinette in a past life, because you all got a little piece of her. I don't know what it says about you if she's attracted you, but like,
that is just wonderful. So when a lot of people in our lives affect us through trauma and affect us by modeling behavior that we don't want to emulate, that put our lives on a different trajectory because of ways that they harm us. Who are the people in your life who have been influential to you in a positive way, that made your life turn a certain way or your brain think a certain way in a good way?
This will reek of ass kissery, but you. But I mean, it's really true. You know, I was very, very young when we met, and our lives couldn't have been more different as far as where we were in our lives. And you know, you're probably one of my first adult friendships that like wasn't from someone I knew from childhood or high school or something, you know. And you know, just what we created with CUSP, and it just really gave me a really good perspective, I think, where, you know, it's just, I don't know, lost my train of thought and left without me.
One of the things I mentioned how reclusive I was when we were working with CUSP. And one of the things interesting about our coven was for at least 2, maybe 3 years, we didn't know each other's last names. We barely knew if the other person had what they did for a living, if they had a partner.
Right.
We got together, we worked heavy magic, and then we went away.
Yeah.
We did get together every couple weeks. It wasn't like now where I just meet with people every 6 weeks or so. We were meeting pretty often.
Right.
But you were just Georgia. I was just Katrina. You knew I had kids because you were in my house. But we didn't do that a lot. And I remember one time I did probably a live journal post or a MySpace post. It was way before Facebook existed. And I commented that I don't really have friends. And you were on that shit. You sent me an email and you said, well, what are we, chopped liver or something like that? And I thought, you know, you're right. And we went out to Olive Garden that week. And that was what taught me a lot about friendship and how I defined friendship and what I wanted in friends. So you were very influential to me as well. And I appreciate that so much. So I know that you're really close with your mom. And I know that Anara definitely shifted your perspective a lot and continues to do so. She's a pistol, that girl. So how old is Anara now?
Anara is 18 and will be 19 in January.
Wow.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Is your grandmother's house still standing?
Yeah. The one in Rio Linda.
Rio Linda, yeah.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
I was because I'm, as you know, rewriting the CUSP book. And so it's been this amazing retrospective, going back through all the pictures again and all of the things we wrote way back then. And just the pictures that we took in your house. And just it's just so rich. It was such a rich experience. And I just really am grateful to have had that. You've done a lot. You've achieved a lot in your life, professionally and personally. What are you the most proud of? What do you look back on and say, I did good at that?
I'll bury you the cliche about my children, because it is true. I am the most proud of them than anything else, but that's kind of boring to talk about. Everybody thinks their children are the best.
Yours are. Yours are.
But they are, yeah, obviously. But actually, it's a more recent thing that I'm proud of. I mean, I am proud of, when I grew up, I was so poor. My parents were not stable. I lived with my grandparents off and on throughout my childhood. And my husband and I met him, we were both very young, and, we had to put ourselves through school, and, nothing was handed to us. And I am proud that we were, we made it, I mean, we're not the Rockefellers, but we do okay. But really, I'm proud of more recently. I've become a gardener. And
wow.
I'm really proud of my garden. I love my garden. It's the best thing. And I'm not good at it, and I don't need to be. It's just peaceful. And when something does actually grow, it feels really good.
So what's out there now?
What's out there now?
Yeah.
Not a lot. It's end of season. I did manage to get one pumpkin to grow this year. It's the first time I've successfully grown a pumpkin, but it is still green. I'm hoping it turns orange by Thanksgiving. It is a pie pumpkin, so I can make a pie out of it. That'd be great, but we'll see. But
that's
yeah,
wonderful.
I mean, I've got an herb garden, I've got veggie garden, I've got flowers, and it brings me a lot of joy and satisfaction. And it's just good. Get outside and in the dirt, and yeah, I'm really proud of my garden.
That's awesome. Just
I haven't making done my that. Way to being a little old lady.
You are.
I just can't wait to retire and be in my garden.
Pretty amazing. I'm retired and not in my garden. For some reason, this property is very specific about what it wants to grow. And we haven't found what that is. We know for a fact it's not crepe myrtle trees.
No.
That didn't work out. Eric planted some fruit trees, and those have gone well. He tried different things, different heritage seeds in a garden, and that didn't do a whole lot. So we're still learning what the land spirits are telling us here. We know that in our previous home, where we lived for almost 20 years, that what it grew best was marijuana. So, but haven't tried that here.
Yeah. I mean, up here, I'm near Seattle, so we have a short growing season. I'm also like at nearly 1,000-foot elevation, so so it's very wet, short season, and every year is different, because some years we get a ton of rain, some years we don't, some years it's a longer season, and all of that affects what bugs are going to attack your shit.
Sure.
And so it's like, I'm like, did I just learn something to do or not to do? Or is it just because of this year? I don't know.
Do you, some people do and some people don't. Do you put your CUSP symbology into your garden, or do you just keep that in circle?
I do put my CUSP symbology, into my garden. And then I think about my other goals a lot as I'm, planting and growing and putting things to bed and all of that. For sure.
That is so, this is going to sound very millennial, but that is so literal. It is. The feeling of that, of we're harvesting something into our lives metaphorically, and then you're also physically manifesting something in your lives to harvest. And the tying the two together is just so incredible. And I love that. That's wonderful. So what movie, TV, podcast, book are you into lately?
Lately, I've been watching House. I never watched House when it was first aired. I just try to do that. I try to find old shows that have a lot of seasons that I've never seen, probably because my kid was too small for me to watch anything like, those 2007 to, now are pretty good years for shit I couldn't watch in front of the kids. And I've been enjoying that. It's amusing. I like medical mysteries. I've had a lot of them myself. So, it's fascinating really how little we know about the body and how much of it is just guessing. This could be wrong with you, maybe. I don't know. So,
it really floored me to learn that Hugh Laurie was British. And of course, he's a British institution. He's important. And he's important here, but he's really important there. And the first time I heard him speak in an interview, I about fell over.
I haven't done it yet. I'm like, because I was reading up on him, like, oh, he was born in like Birmingham or something like that. I'm like, oh, he's British. Well, I cannot imagine him with a British accent. So bravo to him.
He talks about how stressful it was to do the American accent, how he always felt like he was doing it wrong. And I thought, man, you passed with me, man.
Yeah,
for sure.
My comfort show is Resident Alien. And if you haven't watched Resident Alien, you have to watch Resident Alien and then watch it like 40 more times. That's what I
Nathan's a huge fan. Nathan loves it. I watched the first two seasons and then got a little bit lost in season 3.
Yeah.
But yeah, Nathan absolutely adores that show. It's a big deal for him. So I'll get you a list of shows that have a lot of seasons. There are a lot of seasons.
You had posted one before, and I did watch several shows from that. I'm like, oh, excellent, perfect. A list.
So now you said Corbin is 11. Are you going to have more children? No.
We
okay.
Close that shit down. I'm 47. And I thought I was going to die last time I was pregnant. That was my mantra every day, all day. I'm going to die.
It's imminent. Today's the day. So now that Corbin's 11, you're halfway through.
Yep.
That changes all the things you can do in your life and what comes next. What's on your bucket list? What do you want to do before you do actually die, not from being pregnant?
The thing that's been on my bucket list recently, it's a small thing, but it actually is proving to be more challenging to make happen than you would think. I want to see fireflies. Like, I've never seen them. I've been to Tennessee once, and I don't think it was the right season or something, but so I didn't see any. And my girlfriend and I, she's got a membership to a timeshare, and like we're trying to find like, okay, we're someplace that's in the southeast-ish area where we can see them. And there's plenty of timeshares, but there's none that aren't like a 3-hour drive from an airport that we can fly directly from Seattle. So it's like, I really don't want to spend an entire day traveling to somewhere where I don't care about the place as much as are there glowing bugs,
So this is a little roundabout, but Nashville, of course, is a huge airport. And a lot of people who live in Kentucky fly into Nashville or Louisville. Those are the two big ones. Yeah. And I have got ins in Kentucky. So I can tell them, hey, tell me when the fireflies are coming out.
Yeah.
We'll fly you into Nashville. It's a 2 or 3 hour drive up. You can sit in somebody's backyard and see them. We are going to make this happen.
Yeah. I don't know. It sounds cool. I want to see it.
It's really cool. And when you're a kid, it's super magical and exciting. And I love it so much. And of course, here in California, we don't have fireflies either. And so Eric took a Christmas laser and pointed it into the tree behind that's right over my bedroom window above my head when I'm sleeping. So I can literally lay back on my pillow and look up and see what looks like fireflies in the tree. I don't know what it does to anybody who drives past wondering what that is, but that's my fireflies. So what is your favorite part of the day?
When I get to go into my garden. Sometimes I can do it in the morning, before I head to work, or on the days I get to work from home, I can, take a break and go out there. It's like my smoke break, and get my hands dirty. But usually it's right when I get home. Not right now. I'm recovering from bunion surgery, so I've not been outside much, and it's been a bummer. But that's why I planned it for this time of year. There's not a lot going out in the garden, so.
Sure. So you, as you mentioned, and I have this situation as well, had a very challenging upbringing. And if you could go back to any point in your life with full knowledge that you have now and say something to your past self with the codicil that your past self would consider what you're saying, not just blow you off, when would you go and what would you say?
I would be about 14 years old, and I would tell myself to get away from these people. These are not your only options for friends and romantic interests. Just a lot of the people I was around then. I was very stubborn. I had a bet with my brother since I was 8 that I wouldn't do drugs by the time I was 16, and I was going to win that bet. And I was surrounded with people who were doing drugs, when I'm 13 and 14 years old, and they're my age, and they're doing hard drugs, and I'm not. But these are my friends, and I'm hanging out with these people and having, relationships with people I really should not have. And despite the fact that I never touched anything, it was a long time, because I'm a very loyal friend, mm-hmm. and I stuck around some of these people, and it was harmful to me to be in that situation. It robbed me of innocence and youth and freedom at a time when I should have been my most free, Mm-hmm. Oops, shit. I lost an AirPod.
Still connected?
Yep.
Cool. So did anything change after you turned 16?
No. Well, I mean, I smoked a weed, and I didn't care for it. So that was that. Now that I'm old, it helps me get to sleep, because that's all it ever did for me, is mm-hmm. makes me immediately go to sleep. It's not fun for me. It's not recreation. But yeah.
So outing you also have fibromyalgia that you deal with regularly. Yes. Does the weed help that too?
Yeah, it can. But again, it's I'll be asleep. So yeah, sure, I won't be in pain, but I also won't be doing anything. I've been on quite the health journey the past several years, and I don't experience very many fibromyalgia symptoms anymore. I've got a really sweet spot on my supplements and my medications and, all that stuff. So it's like, I was 19 when I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia following a car accident from when I was 18, mm-hmm. Which is, for a lot of people, it's a traumatic event, kind of triggers it. But I feel better now, the past couple of years, physically and mentally, than I have ever before in my youth, young adult, any of that.
That's great to hear, because when you were diagnosed, it wasn't all that common yet.
No, and it was then, and it still is not taken seriously mm-hmm. by a lot of, healthcare people. So, yeah, it's, and the only thing I could do at that time to make my symptoms go down was I couldn't work full time.
Mm-hmm.
And because I needed to have enough time to do self-care, like go to the gym and take lots of baths and, do all the stuff and not have stress in my life, which is, that's hard if you need money.
So true. So true. I've had money and I've not had money. I prefer having money.
Me too. Me too.
I think it's only wealthy people that say that money can't buy happiness.
Yeah, probably.
Or
Yeah,
people who never believe they will ever have money and need to hold on to that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, or that, there's only so many hours in the day. No, sir. If you have money, you have way more hours in your day than I do. Because
that's so true.
Can't afford a maid. I can't, afford for someone to do my yard work. I can't, afford to live somewhere that isn't 20 minutes from town. That takes up a lot of time way back in the wilderness, just to run an errand, that's a couple hours of my day. So no, we do not all have the same amount of hours a day.
No, absolutely not. And it's interesting how many platitudes really just don't apply and are completely untrue.
Yeah.
And yet we just rattle them off just to make everybody feel better.
Yes. Yes. Or to make ourselves feel superior.
If you don't have to worry about your housing, if you don't have to worry about medical insurance, if your kid's college is paid for, or that they're going to be able to achieve their goals and you can help them do that without them having to overly stress, it's a pretty amazing place to be and should not be underrated.
Right. Right.
Yep. Well, is there anything that you would like to promote?
Don't be an asshole. That's the platform I'm running on.
I'll elect you.
Okay. My first order of business is ending daylight savings time. Honestly, I don't care which way we go, just stop the switching. So
yes. Agree on that. And I don't know if you knew this or not because you defected, but California actually voted it into effect around 10 years ago to eliminate time change, as Arizona does and other states do, to just not have the changes. And ever since then, it's been sitting with the California Senate waiting to be ratified.
Washington as well. Well, and basically their thing is like, okay, but we still want the federal to do it.
Unbelievable.
I mean, if someone would just put a bug in Trump's ear and let him know that liberals love daylight savings time. The Democrats love it.
That and SNAP benefits were all about.
Yeah. And he'll get rid of the daylight savings time to anger them.
That would not be that hard. What a bunch of bullshit. I know that it was significant in the war. I get that. But oh my gosh, what a pain in my ass. It was worse when I had kids that I had to get on the bus or had to go to work. But I still don't like it. It throws off
my cats get pissed, it's like, why is my dinner late? It's like it's the worst. I hate it.
What's interesting is my cats will do the why is my dinner late thing, or rather, I'm sorry, forgive me. I'm sorry. Eric's cats will do the my dinner's late thing. But when it goes the other direction, they're right on point.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, they're early for it.
For sure. When what you want to promote came up, what I thought of was how my class that I teach on magical ethics evolved over the years. And it started out with the obvious: don't do any work for anyone without their permission. Don't work when the lights are down, whatever. There were all these codicils for what you should and shouldn't do, all these guardrails on all the energy we're putting out into the world. And I taught every single one of them. Recently, my class is just don't be an asshole. I literally have a PowerPoint slide that says don't be an asshole, because that applies magically as well. And
Yeah.
John Beckett, who I also interviewed here, and he did a presentation, and I don't know if you were at it or not. It was at Pantheacon, but it was the dark side of Druidry. And he said, don't do something magically to someone that you would not do to them mundanely. So if you wouldn't break up the relationship by, causing trouble with them by actually doing it physically, don't do spell work to break up a relationship. And I thought that was really, that was good. When I started working with hoodoo, the idea of, is this action justified or is it not justified? That seemed to kind of be a delineating thing. I enjoyed that. But yeah, everything now, just don't be an asshole.
Yeah.
That covers so much territory.
Yeah. Yeah, so. For sure. And I like being super vague, because it prevents misunderstandings with the universe, I feel like, or disappointment. It's just and I think we went over this in CUSP too. Is like, okay, you want a new car, but what do you really want? You want
right.
What feeling do you want that you think a new car would give you? And that's what you want. And yeah, even if you were doing work for someone else, it's like, I want them to have this, and however that comes about, that is the most beneficial for them.
All we have to create is the destination.
Yeah.
You don't have to plot the course.
Nope.
So true. Well, thank you for being here with me today, Georgia. It was a pleasure to talk to you again and share space with you. And I'll make sure you get a copy of that CUSP book when it comes out, because it's just precious. It's really interesting because I loved the original book, but Eric and I learned so much since we released it in 2012 that we wanted to do an updated version. And so I've been working my way through it. And then of course it'll go to Eric for his edits, but it just reminded me of what a good system this is.
Yeah.
And all the memories we have in the 28 years that we've been practicing it. And it works. It just works. And
it makes sense. It's simple.
Does.
And it's just, it resonates with a lot of people. Anybody I've ever explained it to and sent to the website is just like, wow, makes so much sense.
And you brought up the science aspect of it. That's what I appreciate, is it's not in any way necessarily fanciful. It's about the conservation of energy. Like you said, it's about the Newtonian laws and how they influence the flow of energy, because the energy we put out in circle or in ritual or in spell work, it works exactly the same as the energy that turns on your light when you throw the switch.
Yeah.
So, good stuff. Thanks for being here, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. And this is Georgia. So glad to to introduce you all to her. And hopefully we'll get her back for the next 8 questions. And we'll see all of you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.